Hey everybody, welcome back, and we've got the Superbas against the Giants here for you here in the National League. Both teams 3.5 games out of first place, and this is usually about where I would say, I'm not sure if we want to record this game or not, but coming into this, they were 3 games out of first, and so as I said before, you're going to see probably every single game on this particular day. As you can see there in the standings, the American League, everybody's within 2 games of each other, and that's becoming closer and closer as we go along. Now, who we have for you here today? Well, we have Rucker for Brooklyn up against McGinnity, Iron Man for the Giants. I looked at McGinnity, and this is what happens when you play one of these games. I looked at him and I thought, didn't he play for Brooklyn once? He did in 1900, right? This is what happens when you replay a season. You start remembering stuff like, oh, that's right, he did play for Brooklyn back in 1900, and that replay was a couple of years ago. Tim Jordan to start things off here for the Superbas, and he rolls a 24 for a 13, and there's a strikeout for McGinnity, and one away here as we're at the Polo Grounds, and Tommy Sheehan is the next one up. He rolls a 26 for a 27. That's going to be a little ground ball over to Devlin, a third, throws to first for the out, 2 away. Here's Harry Lumley. Lumley rolls a 24 for a 13, and there's another strikeout. Go to the bottom of the first, and here's Mike Donlin. Donlin rolls a 66 for a 0, and then we go second column. The next roll is a 46 for a 6, and that's going to be a double for Donlin. That'll bring up Larry Doyle here with the runner on second base, and a good chance for the Giants to do something early. Doyle rolls a 16 for a 26. That's going to be a ground ball over to our good friend Harry Patty at second base. Harry Patty makes the play, throws over to first for the out, but of course the runner is able to move up. And let's see, I spelled that wrong. Sorry about this. There we go. And now the next batter up there is Cy Seymour with the runner on third base and 1 out. We will pull the infield in on him. Harry Patty, I have fielding on the mind. I haven't looked yet. I wonder what his 1908 fielding statistics look like and what WAR and the rest think of him. Seymour rolls a 43 for a 29. That's a ground ball over to Rucker. Donlin can't go anywhere, and Rucker throws to first for the out, 2 away, and here's Art Devlin. And Devlin will roll a 13 for a 14, and that's a base on balls. Runners at the corners now, 2 outs. Fred Tenney is the batter. He rolls a 36 for a 30, and that's a fly ball over to Hummel in left field. We go to the top of the second, and it will be Hummel to lead this off for the Superbas. Hummel rolls a 65 for a 35. There's the little E roll, and it's a 45 out of the range. I actually wrote that wrong, but it doesn't matter. Going to be the same result anyway, and that's a little pop-up over to Devlin, the third baseman, for the first out. Here's Billy Maloney. Billy rolls a 22 for an 8, and there's a base hit off of McGinnity. First hit off of him this game, and that brings up Harry Patty. And, boys, should we do something here? Let's see. Yeah, there is an 11 there. I'm just going to take a quick look for those 31s because that'll give you that hint if it's good to hit and run or not. We're not seeing them, but we are seeing, as you can see with Patty, he has a number of 11s on his card, which is interesting. He was somewhat fast, but is given an S because that S rating is the run scoring index. Patty, though, scores, rolls a 42 for a 13 and strikes out. The third strikeout of the game for McGinnity, and here's Phil Lewis with 2 outs. Lewis, though, rolls an 11 for a 7, and that's a single to right center field. Sends the run over to third base, except, of course, that Art Seymour has a good arm, and he throws over to Devlin, the third baseman, and nails him. See how simple that was? It's not like the APBA Master game where you have to go do a whole bunch of calculus to make it work. Go to the bottom of the second. Here's Al Bridwell. Bridwell rolls a 32 for a 26. It's a ground ball over to Harry Patty. Throws to first for the out, 1 away. Spike Shannon now rolls a 43 for a 29. It's a strikeout, rather, for Rucker. Gets his first strikeout of the game. That brings up Bresnahan. Bresnahan rolls a 54 for a 45, and there is the little E roll. It's a 23 right out of the range. That's a fly ball over to Lumley in right field for the out. We'll go to the top of the third, and it's Bill Bergen. His roll's a 45 for a 14, and that's a walk, and that'll bring up Knapp Tucker, the pitcher, and he's going to bunt. Bergen, not much of a runner. The rolls a 56 for 34, and that is a bunt over to Devlin, who throws over to Bridwell, gets the lead runner, and that'll bring up Tim Jordan now with another slow runner on first base and Knapp Rucker. Jordan rolls a 36 for a 30. It's a fly ball over to left field, and it's going to be Shannon with the out. 2 away. Here's Tommy Sheehan. He rolls a 25 for a 9, and that's a little ground ball over to third base. That'll be Devlin who has it. Throws over to first for the out, and that does it. We go to the bottom of the third. Joe McGinnity now, the pitcher up there. And the Iron Man rolls a 41 for a 29 and winds up striking out. 1 away. Here's Mike Donlin. Donlin rolls a 53 for a 15, and that's changed over to an 18 because of the randomizer. He's first on an error. That error committed by Lewis, the shortstop, Larry Doyle now. He'll roll a 64 for a 22, and he's hit by the pitch. Runners on first and second now for Cy Seymour for the Giants, who have something going on here. Seymour rolls a 22 for a 7. This is going to score a run. And that will score one as he gets the base hit over the left field. Doyle goes to third. Seymour is on first. Runners are the corners here. And it's Art Devlin up there with only one out, and we're going to do some hitting and running. McGraw wants to get that other run, and his rolls a 54 for a 45, which is the wrong thing to do. That's a fly ball over to Lumley in right field. He makes the catch and then throws down over to Jordan, the first baseman, and that will be a double play. We are at the top of the fourth inning, 1-0 Giants now. Harry Lumley rolls a 44 for an 8, and that's a single to left center field. That'll bring up John Hummel. And Lumley, we can look at again, does not have that 11, though. We're not going to do anything drastic, no hitting and running here. Hummel's roll is a 32 for a 26. That's a ground ball over to second base. Doyle flips over to Bridwell for the force out, and Hummel replaces him at first base on the fielder's choice. One out, and here's Billy Maloney. Rolls a 23 for a 32, and that's a fly ball over to Donlin in right field for the out. 2 away. Here's Harry Patty. Harry will roll a 56 for a 34, and that's a little pop-up over to Bridwell, the shortstop, who makes the out. Catch for the out, rather. Bottom of the fourth, and it's Fred Tenney. Fred rolls a 13 for a 14 and gets the walk, and that'll bring up Bridwell, and we are going to hit and run. And Bridwell rolls a 22 for a 7, and that's a single, sending Tenney over to third base. Bridwell will be at first, and up comes Spike Shannon. The infield's coming in again. Whoops. I have to look at my hand when I roll so I don't roll the wrong way. Spike Shannon rolls a 15 for an 11, and that's a single, and that will score run 1, send Bridwell up to second base. The score is 2-0 now as Roger Bresnahan comes up there with runners on first and second. We have nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning. Bresnahan's roll is a 22 for a 7, and that's going to be a base hit. That will not score a run, though. The lead runner, who is Bridwell, is thrown out at home. He's thrown out of the plate. Hummel to Bergen, and that'll bring up Joe McGinnity. Now, nobody out. I'm sorry, he does score. So that will bring up McGinnity. With runners in first and third. I probably should go over here and it will tell me what happened. Yeah, single runner scores. So, wake up here. Joe McGinnity comes up there. We're going to have him actually swing away. Let's see what happens. He rolls a 21 for a 13 and strikes out. That helps us prevent Shannon from being caught on the caught stealing of home. Donlin now rolls an 11 for a 0. This is why we had the pitcher swing away. Next roll is a 56 for a 6. It's a double. That'll clear the bases. It's 5-0 now. Rucker, we're going to have him pitch the rest of this inning, but he's coming out in the top of the fifth for a pinch hitter. Larry Doyle rolls a 45 for a 14, and that's a walk. And here comes Cy Seymour. The Giants' bats are finally waking up this season. Seymour rolls a 46 for a 30. That's a fly ball over to Hummel, the left fielder, for the second out, and that brings up Art Devlin, 2 outs. Devlin rolls a 46 for a 27, and that's going to be a strikeout there for Rucker. And we go to the top of the fifth inning. Phil Lewis leads this one off for Brooklyn, down by 5. Lewis rolls a 44 for an 8, which is a base hit against McGinnity, and that'll bring up Bill Bergen. We'll just have him swing away. Bergen rolls a 56 for a 34. That's going to be a high pop-up over to Bridwell for the first out. And here comes Rucker, and we are going to pinch hit. Alperman is going to be the pinch hitter. Whitey Alperman comes in there. Runner on first base. 5-0 is the score for the Giants. And Alperman rolls a 32 for a 26. That is a ground ball over to the second baseman. There he is. Doyle flips over to Bridwell for the force out. Alperman reaches first on the fielder's choice. There's Tim Jordan now, rolls an 11, as that one really danced into being an 11. Next rolls a 45 for a 6. There's a chance of a home run as McGinnity has an M. The first roll is a 33, and the next roll is also somewhat generous. 46 is within the chance, and that turns into a home run for Tim Jordan. He hits that one over the left field fence. 5-2 now for the Giants as Tommy Sheehan comes up there, and he rolls a 52 for a 27. That is a ground ball over to Devlin, the third baseman, who throws to first for the out. That does it for the top of the fifth. 5-2 ball game now. Well, I can tell you, we don't want to put in these guys who have these good starter Q ratings. It's going to be either Bell or Holmes. We're probably going to put in Holmes, I think. And Holmes will pitch here for the Superbas here going to the bottom of the fifth inning. 5-2 Giants still. Tenney rolls a 21 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to Lumley in right field. 1 away, and here's Bridwell. He rolls a 66 for a 0, and his next roll is a 62 for a 6, and that's a double to right center field. Spike Shannon now comes up with the runner on second base, and Spike rolls a 23 for a 32. It's a fly ball over to right field. Lumley has it for the out, 2 away, and here's Roger Bresnahan. Bresnahan rolls a 55 for an 8, and that's a comebacker over to Holmes, who throws to first for the out. We go to the top of the sixth. It's Harry Lumley who rolls a 42 for a 30. Fly ball over to Shannon in left field, makes the play, one away. John Hummel now rolls a 16 for a 26. It's a ground ball over to Doyle, throws over to first for the out, 2 away. And here's Maloney. He rolls a 53 for a 15. That's changed over to a 20, and that is a little fly or line drive rather over to Doyle, makes the play. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and it's Joe McGinnity. McGinnity, the Iron Man, rolls a 56 for a 34. It's a pop fly over to Lewis, the shortstop, 1 away. Mike Donlin now rolls a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to third base. That's going to be Sheehan making the play, throwing to first for the out. And here's Larry Doyle. He rolls a 53 for an 18. That will be first on an error on Lumley. Charge that went to Lumley. Second error of the game for Brooklyn. Up comes Cy Seymour, who rolls a 45 for a 14, and that's a walk. One of Holmes's weaknesses is that W rating. Art Devlin now rolls a 21 for a 30. That'll be a fly ball over to left field. Hummel has it for the out. We go to the top of the 7th, and it'll be Harry Patty for Brooklyn. Patty rolls a 63 for a 30. It's a fly ball to left field. Shannon has it for the out, 1 away. Phil Lewis now. Lewis rolls a 35 for a 23. That is changed over to a 39. That's a strike. 23 traditionally is only a pitcher number, but funny things happen with Skeetersoft. This rolls a 56 for a 34, which is a little pop-up over to the shortstop Bridwell for the second out. Bill Bergen now. He rolls a 14 for a 43, and that'll be a fly ball over to left field. Shannon has it for the out. We go to the bottom of the 7th, and it's Fred Tenney now against Jim Holmes. He rolls a 24 for a 13. That's a strikeout, 1 away. Here's Al Bridwell, who rolls an 11 for a 7. That's a single. Runner on first base now for Spike Shannon as the Giants continue to hit. Shannon rolls a 15 for a 16. That changes to a 21, and that's going to be a ground ball over to Lewis. Throws over to Jordan at first base, who misses it, and that one goes behind him, and it's a 2-base error. Shannon ends up on that second, Bridwell at third. Here's Bresnahan now with 1 out, 5-2 Giants, bottom of the 7th, and he rolls a 14 for a 43. So fly ball deep over to Hummel, who makes the catch, and his throw home is too late, and that brings up McGinnity the picture with 2 outs. McGinnity rolls a 22 for an 8, and that's a single, and that will score another run, and it's 7-2 now Giants. Batter now is Mike Donlin, who rolls a 34 for a 44. Little E roll will be a 24, so just avoiding piling it on. That's a little fly ball over to Maloney over in center field. He makes it for the out. We go to top of the 8th inning, and it's Jim Holmes. We're going to leave him in. Holmes rolls a 54 for a 45. It's a pop-up over to Donlin and right, 1 away. And here's Tim Jordan, who rolls a 52 for a 27. Ground ball over to Devlin, throws to first for the out, 2 away. Tommy Sheehan now rolls a 51 for a 9. That is a single for Sheehan, but he is thrown out trying to steal. We go to the bottom of the 8th, and it's Larry Doyle. Doyle rolls a 61 for a 36. It's changed to a 40. It's going to be a W for a walk, and Doyle ends up on at first base. And here's Cy Seymour. Rolls a 61 for a 32, and there's a fly ball over to right field for the first out. Art Devlin now. Runner at first base, 7-2 Giants, and Devlin rolls a 21 for a 30. It's a fly ball over to Hummel in left field, 2 away. Fred Tenney will roll a 36 for a 30, and that's going to be a fly ball this time over to Maloney in center. So you can see, if you've been paying attention, the way that they get that outfield out distribution set up in Skeetersoft is that the center fielder will get a lot of these fly balls with 2 outs, so that they get a little bit more by way of putouts than the other outfielders. Interesting stuff. Top of the 9th inning, and here is Harry Lumley. Rolls a 24, and that's a 13 for a strikeout. Strikeout number 4 for McGinnity, who's tiring, but doing well. John Hummel now rolls a 46 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to Devlin at third base. Throws to first for the out, 2 away. Here is Billy Maloney, and Maloney rolls a 24 for a 13. That's strikeout number 5 for McGinnity. That's how this one ends. Giants 7, Superbas 2, and the Giants are going to move to 6-4. And not quite up there with the Cubs yet, but they're making a move. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.